born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes. Welcome, athletes, into another episode of the Gym Closet. We are in the Gym Closet, joined once again by Amber. What's up?
Hi. Looks
Welcome
nice
back.
in here. Thanks.
I don't know if we've shot one since we redid it, but yeah, we
Way better than the
painted
green.
a little bit. Yeah, the green was an eyesore, so we went ahead and went all black and threw the stuff back up, so the background is a little less aggressive. And we did that while you were
Gone.
on
MIA.
maternity
Feels good to be
leave.
back.
So I think this is actually the first one we've done in this. We took a week off, I think. We had some other stuff going on. Hopefully I'll have another podcast put up. I was on a podcast for another company that interviewed me, so we might throw that up on here as well. But welcome in. If this is your first time joining us in the Gym Closet, Krave Gym, we're in Krave Gym. The Gym Closet is a Krave Gym podcast talking about everything that is Krave Gym, how to be successful, how to be great, and how to live your life like an athlete. And so that's kind of what we're going over today. Again, we're going to talk about Amber a little bit, her experience through maternity leave and being away from the gym and work and all that kind of stuff. But then we'll get into our word of the week as well. What do you want to do first?
Let's chat, because I might have a call, so then the word of the week, I might have to step out real quick.
Perfect. All right. So the thing that I think I'm curious about, and I think everybody is curious about, is talking about, you know, what your experience was. 3 kids now. You had the brunt of the work because I took a couple weeks off. What would I take?
No.
Yeah,
you didn't.
I took a week off.
Yeah, maybe. But then you had the
I
shed.
took a full week,
so...
and then I had.
But
I
you're
took a
still
full
working
week,
at home,
and then I
let's
had
be honest. You didn't really
yeah.
stop. You never.
But
you
I
never
did
really
take. I
stopped.
did have 5 full days plus 2 weekends, so 9 days off
Okay.
is what I
I
had.
mean, that went fast then, but
Yes.
I feel like you didn't really
Speedy.
take any time off. This third
Well,
one,
no, and then
with the third one, you're
so
just
then-
like, third kid, don't need to take
Outta
any
here.
time off.
no. So my experience. We had baby on. We had
Third.
Porter on the Thursday.
Yep.
So we were Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning in the hospital. Sunday, stayed home, obviously.
No, you
The
went to
week-
Menards like 8 times.
Oh yeah, we did. I did start on the shed that day.
Okay.
But that's because I'm better off doing the shed than I am helping with baby at that point, because you are much more.
But the other toddlers.
No, but we had grandmother, I think. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways.
so then we had a week off. You had you took about 6-7 weeks off.
7
right?
weeks, yeah.
7 weeks, right at.
Yep.
And so with that, how's the adjustment going from 2 to 3 kids in your opinion?
So like I knew it was gonna be hard, but I didn't know it'd be this hard. So you always think about the third. I think personally, like 0 to 1 was fine. Obviously Pierce's diagnosis threw a whole nother
Right.
wrench in that, but that was the hard part of that. But going from 0 to 1, I don't think was that bad. Going from 1 to 2 was not that bad. Like Pierce is just the most chill kid though ever. And he's just so chill. So going from 1 to 2 wasn't bad, and then you have the relief of another baby coming in that is healthy and doesn't have a disability. So then that was kind of like reassuring and just a huge uplift. So then it was like 1 to 2 wasn't bad, and then this one has just been super hard. And you think you remember all the things from like babies,
Right.
their sleep schedule, when they eat, and obviously we're getting to it, but we had to Google things like, okay, so
Right.
when do they need to eat again? Or
Yeah.
like, it's just so funny because you think we just would have it down.
Well,
But
even and it's sorry to interrupt, but
No, you're
like
fine.
even like the eat, play, sleep that we
Mhm.
do, the other 2 kids, I feel like that's the other thing. I think this one is Porter's just more difficult. I think too. One
Yeah.
thing, because like when we did those, at least coming from a dad, I like that schedule because then I know exactly what they need, which I
Right.
think is harder for dads a lot of times. But the eat, play, sleep, they would do it like in order, right? So then when it was time to sleep, you would lay them down and they would actually go to sleep during the day and take a nap. Right. Whereas now I feel like Porter's just rebellious to anything that you're trying to have him do. He doesn't want to do yet.
No, I know. And I got to give a shout out to my friend Jenna. She's For the Love of Sleep on Instagram. She's helped us so much with sleep training with the other two and this one too. She tried with Porter, but I think he was dealing with some reflux. So the thing about Porter is that we couldn't set him down without him crying.
Yeah.
And so we'd have to hold him, carry him around. And then I just think it's noisier with two toddlers. Like, it's hard for him to like get relaxed because there's so much noise and commotion. But then it's like, okay, the toddlers need something. So Porter, I'll lay you down in a second. So then it's kind of like, not that you're putting him last, but there's just, a lot of stuff we're juggling. So, but yes, the kid doesn't really sleep, like, especially during the day. I mean, he's getting a lot better now that he's hungry.
Now that you said that, I do see that makes, like, we can't put him down like in the room, whereas Ivy we could put down in the room and Pierce was quiet doing something.
Yeah.
Those two aren't quiet anymore. So like you can't put him in the room. They're going to be screaming, waking him up.
But then he doesn't even sleep through that stuff. I mean, some newborns, they're just knocked out and they can just sleep through it. Yeah. But he doesn't. He'll wake up and then he's up for the rest of the time. He doesn't go back to sleep. So we're working on it. But I would say up to that 5-week mark, I had a really hard time. Like, I probably had too many Trulies some nights because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's just stressful, you know, and that just relaxed me. But I don't know, it's getting a lot better. I would say at 5-week mark, like he started, you could set him down, walk away, he wouldn't cry, his reflux was, getting better. And now, I mean, at night he still wakes up, and that's just bound to happen with a newborn. Like, it's just a part of it. But it was hard.
Yeah.
It was almost like I love my kids, love them, but I was almost jealous you got to go to work.
Sure.
Some days, because I'm like, I just want to go to work and I need that work-life balance, because I love being a mom, I love staying home, but I also need my own identity. And like work, going to a place, a location, working from home is hard as hell. Like, I get in the middle of something and then Ivy needs a drink, and then you just lose your train of thought.
There or not.
No,
she's coming
to me because I'm there.
Yep.
And so it was impossible to get anything done. And so now when I was back on Monday, it just felt like I'm getting myself back. And I think a lot of women go into those maternity leaves great, but you also lose yourself as who you are, I think. And those moms that stay at home, that's why they look for different opportunities and stuff and just need to go socialize, is because they almost lose who they are because they're just so in tune with their family life.
Sure. So 2 weeks ago now, this Monday.
Just this Monday.
Okay, so so we're at the end of week 1 that you've come back. What's your experience coming back on just the life and the work side of things, and then we'll get into the entire type of, since we're a fitness podcast, we'll get into your fitness.
Yeah. So it was weird because, like, well, you were home Monday morning and the kids are just being bullshits. Yeah. And I'm like, guys, you're making mommy going to work a little bit easier. So I appreciate that. But I just went in and I don't know. When I worked all day, like, at the time goes so fast. Right. I feel like at home too, it does go fast, but I was like, holy crap, it's already like 5 o'clock going home. But then when I got home, I was just excited to see them, because I wasn't with them all day. Yeah. So it just made me, put my phone down and just enjoy my time with them, because I was not distracted, because I'm like, all right, I worked earlier, now I don't need to work. I can spend some time just, slowly on you guys. So it was good. I mean, it was, they're battling colds now, or this virus that's going around. So that hasn't been fun because they've been a little bit more needy, but I don't know. It just made getting home more exciting.
Getting back to work then. How's work been? What's it like getting back into the gym?
It was funny because on Monday, so many people asked me the same question, like, how are you guys doing at home? How are you feeling? All these things. And I love talking. Like, that's my thing. I love to do at the gym, is just talk to people. Yeah. So I feel like I got nothing done on Monday because I was literally just talking to people all day. But it's been good to, try to figure out my schedule. And, I think we've been doing a better job of just having meetings one-on-one with us to figure out, what our roles are in the company and what I need to focus on specifically. So it's been nice to just get my calendar figured out of, okay, this needs to be done on this day, and just, I don't know, it's been really good being back.
Yeah, so Zach is going to be assisting with head coach and stuff over at Waukee, but how's Waukee doing as far as, like, as busy as it is, what's your reaction when you left compared to when you come back?
Well, when I left, we have probably, 35, 40 new members over there from when I left.
Right,
So it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't go back to work because like nobody's quitting. We've signed more people up than we have like ever. So I'm like, well, who's the common denominator here?
There you go.
But I don't know. It's awesome because we've signed so many people up over that time that I have to meet new people. So over the last Wednesday too, it was just great seeing new faces in there. And I coached last night, and it's just I love it because I just get to meet new people. And Zach and Dan and Jerry, I mean, I have to give them a shout out because I was on maternity leave. There was like no issues. Like everybody was there for the session. I felt like, they had control over everything. And so Zach just absolutely killed it over there, making sure that he was setting up times to get people signed up. Cause that's a lot of signups by himself for, that. And then I even
and not
know
having
that
a ton of experience doing it before.
Yeah. And I mean, just his communication with new people coming in and getting them in and booking them for scheduling and stuff is just, it's top notch. And so it's awesome to see that. And, that's one thing that I have a problem with is like that control factor of like, okay, I'm going to leave for 7 months or 7 weeks. How is this going to work?
Right.
There's always just that little bit of doubt that you have, even though you are confident in who we have as our coaches, there's just that little bit of doubt that's like, okay, is this going to get done how I want it to get done? And it was better than anything.
Definitely.
So it's just really cool to see how things can still evolve without me having to be there,
Sure.
And Zach loves it. He loves, meeting new people too. And that role of getting the leads in the door and showing them the Krave experience, which, when someone tries it out, they love it. And so he's just been doing a good job of closing sales and stuff like that. So, and it's taken, even now that I'm coming back, that has helped take some, responsibility and stress and pressure off me to know that he can do that. Anybody can do it. And yeah.
Awesome.
So.
Well, good. So let's dive into your, so you're an athlete. We talked about how living like an athlete is important. And I think all of this stuff goes into the living like an athlete part. Now let's jump into training like an athlete. You trained pretty much, kind of start through like middle of pregnancy and then go through as far as your training experience, how your training changed, and any information that you could help anybody that is currently pregnant or planning on getting pregnant to that, whether they're an athlete at Krave or they're working out somewhere else. What advice do you have for them, and what was your journey through this entire thing now that you're back at it?
So I always I kind of just reflected on my journey like throughout all my pregnancies. So before Pierce, that was when I was kind of into bodybuilding or those bikini shows and stuff like that. And so my type of training that I did back then, I would say I did more lifting and less Krave sessions. And so I look back at that, and obviously before I had Pierce, I was probably the heaviest I've ever been in all my pregnancies. So Pierce, I was the heaviest. I gained the most with him. And it took me a little bit longer to lose weight with the baby weight with him. But with him, I just did more lifting stuff. I didn't put myself through like a strength and conditioning. I was more focused on building muscle because that was my goal then. After I had Pierce, I started jumping into the team sessions more. Because my focus was more on just being, athletic, I guess, or just different types of goals. It wasn't to build muscle. It was just to walk around pretty lean and things like that. So
I think you had look good, feel good, and then be able to actively mom, right?
Yeah,
so like run around with the kids and show them different things and not be, not be worried about running up and down the stairs and be fine with everything.
And that's how it was. It stemmed from that after Pierce into Ivy. So I think when I was pregnant with Ivy, I trained the most with her. I was pretty consistent with my workouts here.
Yeah.
And then I think what had happened after Ivy, it just got really busy. And I took more, because with Ivy, when I was pregnant, I wasn't coaching as much.
Right.
And then with this pregnancy, I was coaching a lot more because we were low on coaches. This was just harder. I mean, as you get older, naturally, pregnancies just become harder and harder. So I felt like I was just more exhausted, throughout this whole pregnancy.
Sure.
I got some energy back in that second trimester, but I can't really practice. I can't say that I was consistent on my workouts this pregnancy because I wasn't.
Right.
And it wasn't that I wasn't hurt. I wasn't anything. It was just fatigue and probably excuses. I just call myself out of my own
what is
bullshit.
not consistent for you?
like once, twice a week.
Right. So that's the thing though, that even though you say that you're not consistent, once or twice a week doing a training session or doing a mock training session, if you didn't have time to jump into a team session with the actual team, that's still working the program, that's still being able to train like an athlete, and just one or two of those times is gonna keep you maintenance, you know what I mean, and not go overboard as far as like any time,
right?
Not just during pregnancy, but anytime. If you do slow down, you get busy in other aspects of life, and your training takes a hit, still doing 1 or 2 times per week and having that's still consistency,
right?
You know what I mean? So even though you were inconsistent in your eyes because you didn't go 3 times a week every single week,
yep,
you still had consistency hitting a couple 1-2 times a week.
Well, I mean, having 2 toddlers at home, just it's like you can't sit down, right? You're constantly doing things with them, you're up on your feet, and it was just a lot. I'm like, why am I so tired all the time? But just the other things we're dealing with in our life, you know. And I think the stress of COVID was piled on top of it, so mentally stressed, just, you know, a lot of things that were just
and then
a huge factor in
during
all
of COVID,
just a huge factor that goes into it. And so I just gave myself grace, and I was like, you know, it is what it is. Once I have this baby, I'll get back at it. And so but I'm a huge advocate. I'm a huge advocate in staying active, you know, when you're pregnant, because it does, the things I see that happen with people is that they get pregnant, they cut off working out. Like, obviously, if your doctor says you have, you know, other underlying issues that you need to stop working out, do it. But if it's just because, you know, you don't know if you should, you know, get medical advice and get people's advice. But the studies that are out there that say, you know, you should work out during pregnancy, you know, and the
big thing that is agreed upon, I would say, between even doctors, because a lot of doctors are like, don't work out, take it easy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I think everybody agrees, do what you have been doing, stay consistent with what you have been doing until you physically can't do those things anymore. Whether it's like range of motion, like you can't do a movement because your belly's in the way, or if it's fatigue or whatever the actual physical ailment ailment's a bad word, but the physical limitation might be, then cut those movements out and make adjustments as you go. But that staying active. If you were active, you probably don't want to start a rigorous workout routine if you haven't been doing it.
That's exactly what I tell people.
Start now.
You don't want to start Krave if you just got pregnant. That's probably not a great time to start Krave,
right?
Because your body, and you've been going for walks. You know, if you've been going for walks, keep going for walks. If you've been doing Krave, keep doing Krave. And I have to say, I guess I was coaching 12 hours a week when I was pregnant, and so I was moving. I was showing movement. So I mean, coaching that, it's like and plus doing a little bit of training on top of it. I mean, so I was probably, looking back at it now, I did a lot more than I thought I did. Right. You know, but yeah, that was my biggest takeaway is
the day before
I was coaching another session. But I just love it, so I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
People are like, "Why are you still here?" I don't know.
I'd
just be sitting on my butt at home? Like I don't know. But yeah, I would say just consistency and mental health too. But one thing, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, is my nutrition. Like I didn't just go through McDonald's and get McDonald's because I was pregnant. And I feel like so many times we want to use that as an excuse of, well, I'll just lose the baby weight when the baby gets here. But what you don't realize is that there's a lot of things that come with having a baby. You know, you lose sleep, so then you put yourself last because you put someone else's needs first. And so I see, you know, several women have come to me for nutrition meetings that have just said, you know, I gained so much weight, I wish I wouldn't have, but I thought I'd be losing it faster because I've been nursing. And that's not the case, because they can't get into the gym because they're trying to find scheduling times and things like that. So it's just, I try to watch my nutrition, work out as much as I can or could, but just didn't beat myself up if, you know, a day wouldn't happen where I couldn't get it in.
Definitely.
But nutrition's going to be huge in what you're filling your body with. You know, we all know that that's so important.
So now you're done. You've had the baby.
Yep.
You're done with
So I had my 6 week, well, I was already hard on myself because I had my 6 week appointment where I was cleared. So they say after those 6 weeks, just wait, don't do anything vigorous.
Sure.
So then I was clear that week, and then I took another week off, and I was like, damn it. But it was because it wasn't.
I think that nothing had changed yet.
But for some reason, I'm like, oh, at 6 weeks, I'm going to start going hard again.
Right. But that's okay. So this week you have jumped into some
Monday, Wednesday,
sessions,
Friday, and I'm sore as hell.
Right. So tell me, how was this week of training?
It was
You haven't
good.
trained yet today.
No, I'm doing the noon.
You
We
have
the challenge.
You have the challenge.
I already know.
I'm excited.
I'm preparing myself all week.
I'm excited.
Because I'm not.
I think
I'm a little bit
I'm
nervous.
pumped
Like, here's
that
the
all
thing.
the coaches have gotten involved
I am
with
too.
these challenges.
So here's the thing that I struggle with. Like, I feel like people look at me because I'm an owner of a gym, that there's a lot of pressure on me to like freaking be perfect, and you know. So then I go into these sessions just with so much pressure on myself that I have to like lift the most or be the fast. I don't know what it is.
I think you just have to compete
It's
against
all on my
yourself,
own.
just like everybody else.
No, it is. It is.
Yep.
But I don't know why I feel that way. But people love it when I struggle. They like to see that because they're like, that means you're a real person.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
But it's just funny
It's
how
terrible.
we just.
And that's
but
what,
I think as all coaches,
when I went
as
through the-
coaches, like we all set that little precedent. Like we got to
Right.
practice what we preach, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so if you.
which is good, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want a coach that can't. And that it may be different in some things, but you don't want a coach that can't at least be proficient in what you're doing, coaching you in what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's different when it comes to like the physical action of it. I'm not always going to be able to. Eventually, my athletes are all going to outperform me as far as the physical side of things, right? So that's not really. We're still in the demographic. We're still in the we can train just as hard as everybody. But if we have athletes doing better than us, I think that's awesome. And we can still coach. But when I'm 60, I'm not going to be able to do the physical side of things. But I will still be able to. I will still have that knowledge and have that that. I'm trying to think of what the word would be to.
Well, it's like you
still
look
have
at
that
a lot of
rigor,
NFL
you know.
coaches, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like that's how they are. They were
Yeah.
good athletes at one time, but now their role's just a little bit different. But
Maybe not. Belichick never. I don't. Even think he
that's
played.
true. He didn't. Yeah.
Or he might have played at a low level,
Yeah.
but yeah. So
I don't know. It's just
interesting.
like yeah.
But
And you have a
do,
lot
put
of
that
owners of
pressure on
gyms who don't even. They're not even there. They don't even work out. But
Right.
for some reason, I feel like there's just. But it's my own
That's
fault.
good, though.
It's not. Nobody gives a shit. But it's. I just think that they do. You
Right.
know? So I'm in my own head, and it's silly.
But you're competitive. That's
I'm
because you're an
competitive.
athlete. You're
Yeah.
ultra competitive. So you want to be the best. So if you were training at Krave and you weren't a coach at Krave, you would still feel that way.
Yeah. For
Other
sure.
people are looking at me. I have to be the best that I can be
Yes.
because I'm Amber.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that you're the coach and the owner. I think that's just in your personality. It's in my personality as well.
Because like everybody on Monday at Waukee, they're like, you don't even like, you couldn't even tell that it was your first session. And the first thing I said was, well, I didn't go my hardest because I just wanted to kind of feel it out to see how I was going to be. And I was already mad at myself for not performing better, you know?
Right.
But
yeah.
that's just the competitiveness in me and the athlete in me.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go freaking balls to the walls and like, because I've done that before.
is
like
today.
time.
Today's the day.
I know.
Today's the challenge. But when I love that too because when I went to the challenge, so Damon beat me
Yeah.
by a shitload now. He's got 153.
That's nuts.
And so I was at 206. I think I'm still in second. I don't know if anybody has gotten. Zach got I think 207 or 210, and some of the other coaches have gotten 210. A lot of our athletes are I think 210 is the next one. But me doing that, I'm the same way. I feel a sense of pride in that. And if someone beats that, one of our coaches beat that, I'm gonna have to do it again. But I was absolutely dying. I couldn't lift my legs afterwards.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah. So
So
good luck.
maybe we can just keep the podcast going over 12 o'clock.
Nope.
So then I have. I'm
No, we
busy.
are on a limited time. Are you doing
can't
over
steal
here or
anymore.
walking?
No, I think I gotta. I have a nutrition meeting after, so I gotta.
Okay, so yeah, we gotta
roll
speed it up. Awesome. No, we're excited to have you back. Excited to have you back in the gym. I'm sure all of your athletes over at Waukee are excited to have you coaching and jumping into the sessions again
That's fun. It's a
and
lot of
rocking
fun.
and rolling. So.
And then I've been over here a lot though because we've had meetings over here, so I've been seeing some West because I never come to this side of the hood anymore.
That's
Because
true.
even Justin was like, "Geez, you're over here again."
Yeah, I know.
Which
right?
I'm never
That's
over
true.
here.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
But
nice.
yeah,
It's
well,
good.
normally it's one day a week was what we were doing, but now this week we've done a couple different times.
Yeah, because Wednesdays we'll do the podcast. Yeah.
We're switching schedules up a little bit. So, but our word of the week this week I want to dive into is dream. The reason I want to dive into it is because I had a really cool quote that I did not write down. So if I butcher it, but I saw this quote that behind every successful person there is a dream fulfilled. How about that? I did get it right.
Dang.
And so like that really got me thinking about the word dream, and like as adults, like as kids, we were all about like, what are you going to be when you grow up? Let's dream about doing this. I'm going to be a baseball star, a football star, dreaming of these things that would ultimately push you to make decisions a certain way, right? And so I think as adults, that gets tampered down quite a bit. And so what I want to encourage everybody to do is let yourself dream a little bit, and it goes along with goal setting, but make sure that you're push those limits to the impossible. You know what I mean? Like that's what a dream is, and then you can whittle it down into goals to get to a dream. But if I want to make $1 million, my dream isn't $1 million. My dream is to be a multi-millionaire and live this lavish lifestyle and this kind of thing. So if that's your dream, then you make decisions to go towards that dream. But I think a lot of people stifle their dream if they get into a job. They're kind of going through the rat race. They don't dream of what they love doing. And so one thing that we always do here, and I'm going through this pretty quickly, because we got to limit our time so Amber can go train. Mm-hmm. But knowing your dreams is almost difficult as an adult, I think. You know what I mean? Like what do you dream of? What's crazy that you dream of? And if you get stuck in a rut, then getting into that dream mode is tough. And so some action steps that I pulled from doing some of the research that I did is just write some of these things down and then develop your dream from there. So as a child, what did you want to become and what did you love? You know what I mean? So if you're, or even like, what did you major in college? Right. There's a lot of people that loved doing something, so they majored in it in college, and then when they got out of college, life happened, they got a job, and they've been there ever since. So the number 2 is, if money is no issue, what life would you live? You know what I mean? So if money doesn't limit you, what would you be doing? Where would you be living? What would be in your life? And if you think about those things, those are some of your dreams, right? Because the reason we don't go to the beach every day is because we have to work and make money, right? But if you loved the beach and you loved surfing or something, and that was your dream, you could take action steps to make that happen and do more. Hopefully it's still going. I think the light's still on, so we might still be rolling, even though my phone died. What parts of your life do you love and you want more of? So think about, in your life, what do you really like and what do you have to do? You know what I mean? And so if you can dream of what your dreams are, what you love in your life, how can you take action steps and how can you make a plan to do more of what you do love? What do you enjoy doing in your free time? That's a big one. Like if you have a weekend off, are you going to want to, go camping? Are you going to want to catch some horse races? What do you do in your free time? And though, package that into your dreams so that you can put that into time that you can enjoy and not do just during free time. And then the other part is interesting because it's kind of like, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor, right? But when you do, because we're all human, when you look at your neighbor's life, when you look at your friend's life, when you look at some of those, some of the people that you hang out with, you love, in their life, is there anything that you're like, they do that a lot. I wish I had time to do that, or I wish I had time to do this, or I wish I had the money to do this. If you dream of those things, all of this list of 5 things is going to, if you're writing some of these down, it's going to steer you in the direction of knowing what your dreams are. And as an adult, that's the difficult thing, I think. So.
And I think it's so funny because I think you can answer these questions pretty easily. Right?
Me personally?
Am I right? Yeah. Like
I
your
think,
dreams
I think
and
a lot of them.
Like I have a hard time. Like you just going through that list, I have a hard time identifying some of those things.
Really?
And it's just like with my Rodan Fields business. It's like we're always told, and this is very similar, what's your why? Why do you want to wake up and achieve these goals? What's your why that you want to build this big successful business? because it's going to motivate you to do these X, Y, and Z. And I have a hell of a time with that.
Yeah.
And I know there's different like resources you can use to like break down your why, because some people, like my why, may be for more money to experience more opportunities with my kids and memories, right? Yeah. But why do you want that? And then you have to just break it down and down and down, because that's not going to motivate me. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a big why, that's you know, but it's just, you got to get so, I don't know, in detail about some of these things to make you actually do it. You know what I mean? But I know these aren't easy for a lot of people to answer. Right. And it's kind of, I don't know. And just how our lives have evolved. You know, you had this dream, and I did too, of owning our own gym. Right. And it's kind of surreal to know that this is one of our big dreams. And it was a risk. Yeah. You know, a lot of dreams take huge risks. Like this could have went under in a year, you know, but. I
just had, talking about the business call, the business interview that I did on another podcast. It was interesting because he had mentioned, he was like, oh, so you guys opened your gym out of college. Like, and he was like, you guys had gas in your piss, like you were ready to go, right? And I was like, looking back on it, I was like, yeah, like it is a huge risk, but at the time in our lives when we made that huge risk, it didn't matter. We didn't have kids, we didn't have
that's
a house, we didn't have anything. So it was like, okay, it's risky, but at the same time, if we lose everything, we don't have anything to lose. You know what I mean? And so we were building our life off of this decision. You know what I mean? So that's the we risked our future.
And that timing, right?
So like that I think helped us, and that stuck with me to why we did that. But now think about this too. We have that dream. That dream of having a gym is done, right? We've been successful at that for 7 years, 2 years at another location. So that second location was a dream of ours, right? And now 10 locations is a dream of mine, right? And multiple things that go with those are dreams of mine. And so that's what's fun, is if you identify that dream and you go after it, even if you capture it, that dream to me continues to parlay into more things, and it continues to elevate. And I think for you, it's interesting because you're in this crazy transition. I feel like a lot more than I am, in that you have, in the last 4 years, you have had 3 kids. You've been pregnant for most of that time. Mm-hmm. You've gone through all of these different things. And so your why, like my thing is, I've always been provide like for the family. I've always thought of everything as like a big family unit, but I feel like you break it down and have such a tie to each individual kid and each individual situation. And so I feel like your why may change a lot more than mine. Right. And
it's just weird because like these ladies that do this, the Rodan Fields business with me, it's like, I want to get my husband out of corporate. Well, you love what you do, so that's not my why. My why is not to get you away from your job. Right. My why is to spend more time with my kids. Well, I have that work-life balance now. I can work that business at home. I can work this. I can be here, but I'm at home with my kids. Like, I have that. Yeah.
You just got it all. You don't need it.
No, and I feel like bad as hell saying that, because there's people at work right now that probably hate what they're doing, and they're like, I don't mean it in like a look at me type way. Right. But it's just like, I feel so fulfilled with like my career and like choosing when I get to be with my kids and not. Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing for me to just try to figure out. Like, I love our house.
If you could stop where you are today.
No, I don't want to answer these questions. I don't like.
So, but if you could stop and not expand and just live, watch the kids grow, watch our make the exact same money we have through our businesses with Krave and in your business with Rodan Fields, and you, without any growth, be set, would you be okay with that?
No. Like, now I start to think about kids like college. Sure. Because financially right now we're not going to be able to afford to pay for that with here's some money to go to college. Right. So now it's like I think my goals would be like to be able to do things like that for our kids. Sure. Okay. So yeah. So that's like, money's not everything, but money gives people opportunities to have more things, right? Right. I think Pierce has taken us down a whole nother path that I want to explore a little bit deeper into helping kids with special needs. There's something that's pulling me that way. Yeah. I just don't know what it is. Right. I haven't figured that out. But I know that would fill a huge part of me. Yeah. in a way that I haven't figured out yet.
Sure.
But to have money for a resource like that, whatever it could be, would be another goal. You know,
Right,
I don't know.
right.
That's
interesting though.
But I think my goal now is financially to be able to provide more for our kids in the future.
Right.
But I also want them to know, like, follow your dreams. We talked about this the other day. You know, you don't, whatever you guys want to do in your life, we will support it. And
right. Yeah.
you know, we had that conversation a while back, and it's
I think a lot of parents are, you know, when their kids get to the level of go to college, get an education, be an accountant.
Yes.
And their kids jamming on the guitar and wanting to do something else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I know it is.
But I think I think Pierce opened our eyes. Having a disability, we were like, okay. Before Pierce, we were like, our kids. I don't know if I was necessarily like this. I think together we were more structured in what we thought our kids' futures would be, and we were just like, they're probably go to school, they'll probably play sports,
go to
college, and then.
But like we talked about with Pierce,
you
it's like, you know, the I don't know if I can say it, but an athlete here is building a huge home base for people with disabilities.
Right. Yeah.
And so I would love to be able to buy a condo for Pierce there and let him live and have assisted living.
Right.
But that's a huge finance. Like, but we got to have money in order to do that, you know? So
Right.
things like that I'm thinking about so far in the future that I want to set ourselves up for, you know? And so
Right.
those are some of my goals or dreams that I
Right.
have right now. But
Cool.
Yeah. But it's just interesting. It's hard for me to answer those sometimes. And I'm sure for a lot of people it is.
Yeah. But
But it's just
even
good to
having
sit
this
down
conversation
Yeah.
helps you identify a little bit of that. So if you're having this conversation with your spouse, your friend, whatever, that opening those things up now thinks, okay, oh, I did say this and I did identify that I want to do this for my kids, and in order to do that, what do I have to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you know, it might mean get a side hustle. It might be as simple as like, I dreamed to go hiking more, but I'm overweight and I don't like walking up the stairs. So what do I need to do? Little steps to doing that,
so
to where now you can once a week go hiking or ride your bike for 20 miles. Like, you maybe loved riding your bike when you were a kid, and you need to get into physical condition so that you can actually do that and living your life like an athlete and all that kind of stuff. So it is awesome to be back. Glad you were able to join us again, and we'll be back on a weekly basis, probably Wednesdays now instead of Tuesdays.
Yep.
Uploads probably sometime after Wednesday, either Wednesday or Thursday. So for those who are watching online, thank you for watching. And those for listening, if you can subscribe, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell that can remind you when we get new episodes up. There's a lot of cool stuff we can do with going live through there and all this kind of stuff if we have enough subscribers. So if you can do that for us, that would be awesome. If you're listening to this on any of your podcast stuff, go to YouTube. I'm sure you have a YouTube account. Subscribe to Krave Gym, and that will help us out a ton with some of the cool stuff we want to do in the future, but they require a bunch of subscribers in order to do so. So we're trying to build that up. But in any case, thanks for joining us. And remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Thanks, guys.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.